I need you to knock some sense into me. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
I enjoy listening to you. I don't always agree with everything.
All right, enough of this persiflage.
So, you want my question?
I'm certainly not going to get myself in trouble by telling you what to do.
That makes great sense. Gosh, that's good.
Did I overwhelm you with words and wisdom?
I've got 7 kids. I feel like I could call you every day.
What? Wait, you're telling me I'm wrong? Disconnect.
Yes, I am, Dr. Ray.
You just need to tune in to Dr. Ray, honey. He's got all the answers.
Am I right or am I right?
Probably.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
It is said there is no excuse for laziness. However, I am still looking. Very nice to have you with me here on The Doctor's In. This is not E-Person Monday. No, this is Talk to You Monday. Every so often we do this. We alter the schedule. It's not rigid. We have to be flexible in life. Because a lot of folks, for whatever the reason, they may only be able to listen on a Monday, which probably leaves them with some pretty heavy psychological gaps. It's another program. But when we do a live program, substituting for E-Person or substituting for Look Back on Fridays, we get a lot of calls because it's a chance for people to call in who otherwise would not be able to. So this is not, let me stress it, an E-Person Monday. The emails will be there, just like laundry. They're there always. We can get to those in a future E-Person. But right now, I want to talk to you. So let me give out the number, which is not what I do on E-Person Monday. 877-57-EQUAL. That is the number to call to get onto the program if you have a question or a comment or a helpful insight about something in life. Doesn't narrow it down very much. Life, from conception to eternity. We get close to conception, we have to start speculating. And heading towards eternity, there's even a lot more we don't know. Nevertheless, on this tiny little sliver of earthly existence that we have in the overall scheme of things, it's what we know. And it's what right now impinges upon us temporally, emotionally, behaviorally, socially, maybe faith-wise. So I'd like to hear from you. 877-573-7825, 877-57-EQUAL. Once again, I want to thank all the folks at WMET, the Guadalupe radio affiliate, who allowed me to broadcast from their studios last week as we were in Catholic University of America taping 4 programs of Living Right with Dr. Ray, the last 4 of season number 15, which will probably air sometime next year on EWTN. So take a little TV break for a while. You won't have to listen to me nag and badger you about getting an audience there. At least not for a while. But I will nag and badger you about phone calls. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call to get on to the program. I've been working on a formula. Some people say, I'd like to call in, but I don't know how long I'll have to wait. If you're a parent and the children are still being raised by you, the formula that I've come up with is P equals T, the quantity N minus A squared. Now, that means nothing to you until I identify the variables. P, that's patience, equals T times the quantity, the number of children minus their ages squared. So, in other words, it's easier to wait on the phone the less children you have or the older they are. It's real straightforward there, but that was my formula there. So P equals T times N minus A, the quantity squared. Binomial equation, about one of the few things I remember about all the mathematics I had to take through high school and college. Whew, I know it. Got into calculus and all that stuff. I was stunned. As my daughter said when she was learning some of the grammar rules in homeschooling, and she said to her mother, in all seriousness, why do I have to know this? When am I going to use it? 877-57-EQUAL. I don't see anybody up there yet, so let's line them up. Talk to Eric Dumont. He is waiting. I was in a grocery store. This was probably, 30 years ago. Yes, I know. I was in middle school. I saw this magazine that looked, it was I don't remember the details, a parenting magazine or some kind of family magazine. The cover byline said, "Should you use timeout?" Now, well, all right, I will get to that in a second then. So I flipped it open to the article, and the woman who wrote the article was a high-profile development person, child development. She had some letters after her name. She was a college prof. And the first line of the article, "Sitting in a chair for a child is a humiliating experience." Oh, whoa! What, are you going to eat standing up? What about car? That's kind of sitting in a chair, isn't it? Well, she was alluding to a child being placed in timeout when they didn't want to go. That's what she was alluding to. So she was essentially making the case that timeout is just totally inappropriate for children. It's isolation. It's social shaming. She had a whole bunch of things. Now, lest you think she was an outlier, I was in a New England state some many years ago. I gave a talk to child care specialists in their home. These are people who had kids. They were licensed by the state to bring kids into the home and use, I don't want to say babysitting, but child management and care. One of the ladies came up to me afterwards and said that what introduced into the state legislature was a bill affecting them, outlawing in their homes the use of, you ready? You ready? No, not spanking. Outlawing timeout. Yeah. Because apparently somebody who introduced that bill, and I don't ever know what happened to it, but somebody who introduced it was of the theoretical mindset that this is just awful, terrible, horrible. When I first learned of timeout in grad school, the total name of it was timeout from reinforcement. It was a behavioral term, behavioral psychology, which maintained that kids' behavior is maintained by positive reinforcers. And behaviorists, as a rule, did not like punishment. They thought that was terrible. They thought it didn't work. It was attached to the quote-unquote punisher, and as soon as the punisher left, the kid would resort to whatever other behavior we didn't want. Are we allowed to not want certain behavior from kids? I don't know. Timeout from reinforcement. So, in other words, they didn't even view it as negative, as a negative consequence. They viewed it as, since we don't know what potential positive reinforcers could be maintaining this person's behavior, this child's behavior, we will remove him from the situation. And by the way, you didn't have to put him anywhere. You just removed him from the situation. But if you did put him somewhere, if you sat him on a couch or you sat him on the steps, corner? No, you're not allowed to use corner. No. That was just, too awful. Psychologically damaging. And by the way, this is all speculative theories. There's no research backing that up. How would you study it anyway? No, it's just a lot of folks who think they're really smart coming out with these ideas and these notions that are saying, if you do this, this is what will happen to the kid. And people naturally attribute to them some kind of expertise, that they know these things, like equivalent to if you're diabetic and your A1C hits 9 or 10, that's not good. But in fact, most of these warnings, most of these don't do this type stuff, it's theory. It's just speculative notion. I got an idea. I want to sound smart. I think it is smart. So therefore, I'm going to tell you, don't stand a kid in the corner. Don't use timeout. Bad stuff. It's going to affect the child. It's not going to work. Timeout is about the most benign consequence you can use. Sitting on a chair? Ooh, that's awful, isn't it? Psychologically scarring. I'll tell you what, if a kid is getting messed up psychologically by having to sit on a chair or stand in a corner, he is in big trouble as he gets older and has to deal with people and life and circumstances. Yikes. All right, I got to take a break because I'm going on pretty long here. 877-57-EQUAL, that is the number. I'd like to talk to you. You want to get on? Come on. We'll put you right up. I'm Dr. Ray.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
Hi, I'm Angie. Did you know a billboard can save a baby's life? It's true. You can make a difference this holiday by helping us spread the pro-life message to reach those who are struggling with an unplanned pregnancy. Our billboards and ads feature our 800 hotline for help, which connects people to pro-life centers nationwide that can assist with free medical help, baby supplies, and more. Won't you join us in this season of giving? Please make a gift today. Visit prolifeforacrossamerica.org. That's prolifeforacrossamerica.org.
Life's uncertainties can arise without warning. And without a clear legal plan, your wishes may go unfulfilled. Through our partnership with mycatholicwill.com/AVE, you can designate guardians for your children and allocate your assets to the individuals and causes you hold dear. Create your will at no cost from the privacy of your home. This Thanksgiving, take time to prioritize your family's peace of mind. mycatholicwill.com/AVE.
This program brought to you in part by Ave Maria, Florida, a big kind of small town where golf carts take you everywhere and there's always something fun around the corner. Discover championship golf, resort-style amenities, and a town center full of shopping and dining. With Ave Maria University and Ave Maria Catholic Church at its heart, it's a community full of connection and charm. More than 25 model homes are available for viewing. More information can be found at AveMaria.com. That's AveMaria.com.
Well, we just had somebody confused saying, when is Dr. Ray live? Well, live all the time, but, as in breathing, but normally Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is the calling, but today we're taking calls too, because every once in a while we adjust. Put in a live Monday show for callers or a live Friday show. So this right now is a live show, so you can call in. This is not E-Person Monday. This is You-Person Monday. 877-573-7825. Real quickly before we go to your calls, we got another EWTN radio partner, KDME, serving Fort Madison, Manly. Fort Madison and West Point, Iowa. 22 years they've been there. God bless them. Congratulations, Michael Panther, Joe Pites, I got to pronounce that right, and the great team at Divine Mercy Educational Radio Association, from all of us here at EWTN. Way to go. 22 years. That was pretty close to the time I started on EWTN. All right, let me see what we got here. This is an interesting, yes. Bob from Ohio. He's wondering, I'm a little nervous about my possibly impending diagnosis here. Hi, Bob.
Hi.
What makes you think that you're on the edge of Alzheimer's.
I just can't, I can't remember things, and everything I try to do as a chore, I just tried to order some stuff online, and it just got all messed up, and I ended up having to, make sure it was canceled because I didn't know what I did,
After you made the order, you later on realized I don't recall exactly what I ordered, what I did?
No, it just wouldn't work. All the buttons I was pushing, it just wasn't working. It wouldn't go through, and it said, re-enter, and then it said, use it, this number not accepted.
Is this something that is happening more frequently, that things you used to be able to do now are becoming a struggle?
Yes.
Can you give me a couple more examples?
Well, I'm having people, send me emails and stuff now, because when they tell me something, within, minutes, half hour, whatever, if I don't write it down, I don't remember. Sometimes it'll pop back in. I'm sitting there trying to remember, sometimes it's like a couple minutes later, all of a sudden out of nowhere, it'll pop back. But most
how old
of the time,
are you?
I can't remember.
Bob, how old are you,
What?
sir? How old are you?
68.
58 or 68?
68.
68. Well, that's relatively young for the onset of late Alzheimer's. If it were early Alzheimer's, 50s and 60s is possible. I think the question becomes, there's a certain amount of memory retrieval that happens with age. We lose the ability to recall things as well as we used to. That's kind of normal aging. That's part of it. If you're confused about things that are technology, welcome to the club. I do the same thing. I get lost all over the place. I think the question for you is functioning on a day-to-day basis. For example, you go to the store, you get in your car, and you're not sure how to get back home. Has that happened?
No.
Okay. Or you put something in the microwave, you put the timer on, and you make sure that it's safe. It's not a piece of metal that you're putting in there. And it cooks well, and you can handle the microwave. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when it's done cooking, it's got a beeper that beeps, tell you that it's done. So I wouldn't forget. If I put it in there and it didn't have something like that, I'd probably forget that I put something in the microwave.
Well, I could do that too.
Find out later that it's in there cold. It's been sitting there for a couple hours.
You have a remote, and while you're watching TV, do you ever look at that remote and think, I'm not quite sure how to use this?
No, I can work a remote.
Okay. So
I'm not so good on.
Here's the thing to put your mind at ease,
like
Bob.
that.
Here's what you do to put your mind at ease. You set up a little appointment either with your general practitioner or a neurologist. You'll go in and they'll give you certain quick tests, just some things to check your ability to recall, to check your ability to understand. Sometimes there's just a small example. They'll give you the clock test, and they'll say, okay, draw the face of a clock and then put that clock at 10 after 10. So they'll just give you some brief tests. They'll ask you some things. They'll ask you where you are. They'll ask you who the president is, a whole bunch of questions, and they'll give you a sense of, okay, you did okay. You did fine. So for you, the question becomes, hello, Monsignor. The question becomes, is this just little here and there kind of, slip-ups, mental slip-ups? Or is it the beginning of a pattern? And I think the way to determine that is get yourself to a physician, tell them Tell her what you're thinking about, what you're worried about, and that you would like some brief mental status exam. That's what it's called. And they'll check.
That's what I did a year ago.
And you passed it. You passed it, right?
Should I do it again?
Well, did you pass it then?
Yeah, a year ago they said the MRI showed there's nothing wrong with your brain, and I did the little mental test like you said, and they said, you did okay, you did fine.
All right.
And that was a year ago.
Well, chances are you're not going to plummet that much in a year. So go again.
There's one other factor too.
All right.
My mom had some kind of a, brain type thing. I don't know what I was pretty young at the time. I was probably only 10 years old or whatever. And she went from, just like, she went from forgetting things to walking around the house crashing into stuff and had to be put into a nursing home. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm afraid of.
Well, it's not
happen quick.
It may not be a clear line lineal genetic thing, Bob. You can't know that. And plus, we don't know if it was something a little different. It sounds like it was perhaps MS, or it might have been Parkinson's, something that was motor involving. So you don't know that. So you ease your mind by once again going to the doctor and saying, look, since I took this last time, I'm feeling like I'm slipping a little more, and I just want to know if this is part of my natural aging process or something has deteriorated. And if that's the case, if they catch it on the front end, there are some drugs that we can take that will slow down somewhat, not a lot, but somewhat, the cognitive struggles. So that's what I would suggest you do. I can't diagnose you from here. I'd have to sit and talk with you at great length and give you these tests and figure it out. So you go through a physician, and that's the best way to do it, Bob. Ease your mind. And something tells me you're going to be just fine. You take care, my friend. Diana, as we are jumping from one end of the age spectrum to the other. Oh, come on, Diana. All right, go ahead. You tell me, and then you ask me. Hi, Diana.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
I caught you at the tail end of the introduction to your show today, and I caught a part about that you were saying about when a child gets punished or has consequences. And that's the reason for my call. Am I talking about the right topic today?
Well, this goes to show you, my dear, what happens if you don't catch everything in context. What I was saying was there are no shortage of experts who theorize that if you punish or you use a chair or you stand a child in a corner, it's going to have psychological ill effects. And I was basically debunking that. All right? So your question here, when your son was in preschool, he would be placed in a red chair and desk, which using the color, I'm sure there's experts who would have all kinds of trouble with that color. Red, that's a hostile color, Correct. And so your kid is now 16, and what are you wondering?
It's just one of those things that I've always looked back on with regret, even though I took him out of that preschool in a matter of months because that didn't sit well with me. And I had him evaluated because of that with a psychologist, a school psychologist. And he said that he was just a very normal, active 3-year-old boy because he was very curious and he liked touching things in the classroom and at them. And I guess he wasn't the type to just sit down quietly. And so...
Diana, you stay right there. We're going to have to take a hard break. I'll come back and I'll pick you up, so don't leave me. This is Dr. Ray, 877-57-EQUAL. Number to call to get onto the program. Thank you.
And now, the EWTN Family Prayer with Father Joseph.
Family, a prayer that we pray together is a powerful prayer. So please pray together with me our EWTN family prayer. Today we pray for the caregivers of the sick. O most holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, we adore you. You have first loved us, and through your Son you have taught us the excellence of self-giving love. Give to those who are caregivers of a sick parent or child, brother or sister, the assistance of your holy angels. Lessen their burdens and give them great joy in practicing a work of mercy. And since charity is never forgotten by you, reveal to them their heavenly reward. Amen.
The prayer of the hour of Jesus is an extraordinary prayer, states the Catholic Catechism. It is the longest prayer recorded in the Gospels that Jesus offers to his Father. He prays it as he is facing the hour of his passion. The Catechism claims the prayer embraces the whole economy of creation and salvation, as well as Jesus' death and resurrection. It always remains his own prayer, just as his Passover, once for all, remains always present in the liturgy of his church. In this paschal and sacrificial prayer, also known as Jesus' priestly prayer, everything is concisely reviewed and summarized in Christ. God and the world, the Word and the flesh, eternal life and time, the love that hands itself over, and the sin that betrays it. Jesus fulfilled the work of the Father completely. His prayer, like his sacrifice, extends until the end of time. This is Peggy Stanton, and this has been the Order of Malta's Minute with the Catechism.
You heard about those saints that can bilocate? Well, I do a version of that. I bilocute, speaking to two cities at the same time. Actually, to be correct, it's omnilocute. Many cities. I'm talking to Diana. Diana from Miami, Florida. And she is wrestling with something that a lot of people wrestle with because the experts have really confused them and made them scared. Which is when her little 3-year-old guy was in preschool, he was sat in a red chair every day. That must have mean he was acting up every day. So Diana says, I got him out of there. Well, he's 16 now, and she's on the lookout for possible reverberating ill effects. Are you reassured, Diana, that stuff didn't do anything to your son?
I wonder, since they say those are the formative years, those early years, he's a wonderful kid. He gets excellent grades and he has great conduct always. I just wonder if it could have done a little something to his spirit, to his self-confidence.
Oh! See, this frustrates me because this is what so many parents parent underneath this cloud of, you had a situation back when he was 3 that you didn't like as a parent. You thought it was inappropriate. But you're wondering, okay, perhaps, that did something in those formative years. Well, first of all, when they say formative years, Diana, they're generally talking about neurological development, language development. They're talking about stimulation. That's mostly what they mean about that. Right. If you're talking behavior, he was 3. That stuff is so far in the past that I think you could easily say it makes no difference on who your son is. But you don't need me to tell you that. You have to have enough confidence as a mother to look at your son and say, hey, he's a great kid. Yeah, when he was 3, he was rambunctious and he got sat in a chair a lot. Okay. But he's not 3 anymore. And all of the factors that make him who he is now are much more powerful than the fact that, let me draw this parallel. There are those people who have had severe trauma in their childhood. Abuse, neglect, nasty stuff. And yet, there is a percentage of them who go on to do well. They strive. They pull it together as they get older. And they grab onto healthy ways to live. So your little guy, just being sat in a chair because he was rambunctious, maybe challenged his teacher, so she sat him in a chair. And it was red. Oops, red. I'm not God, but I am 99.99999% confident that this has absolutely nothing to who your son is today. So there you go.
Thank you for that. I
You are
appreciate
welcome.
it.
You are welcome, dear. Just let that one go. You know, my children are adopted, and several of them, we got older, and they had histories way worse than your son, who had a bunch of sittings when he was in preschool. Well, my kids are doing okay as adults. We didn't get them till later, and there was a lot of stuff in their environment that we couldn't control, especially the womb environment with the drugs and the alcohol. Nevertheless, I think they're doing pretty well as adults. But you know what, though, Diana? They were never sat in a red chair. I think that's what did it. God bless you, honey. Thanks for the call, okay?
Thank you so much. Have
right.
a wonderful day.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Bye. Oh, man, that's going to be a look back call because I am so frustrated by poor parents getting assaulted by these expert notions that if this happened 12 years ago, you can't know what effect this is going to have. I mean, I've had so many experts say these kinds of things to parents. All right, never mind. Let's go. We're bouncing around from young to old because Sue from Iowa is now talking about her mom, who's 99. Hello, Sue.
Hello, Dr. Ray.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yes, I'm calling about a difficult situation. My mother's in a care facility in Illinois, and only my sister out of the five of us lives in the same town. And she wants to be done dealing with my mom. She doesn't, I think, even talk to her, see her, really have anything to do with her. She's tired of it. My mom is not the nicest person.
Is your mom in any stage of dementia?
She's forgetful, but not to the point that she wouldn't know what's going on. But my sister wants her to move to Iowa and be in a care facility.
By you?
My sister just told me that she has a tumor in her brain.
Mom or your sister?
My sister does.
Oh. So her view is, I've got a very full plate and I really can't monitor mom and visit regularly.
Right.
Well, you know, if you do move your mom at age 99, I got a feeling she's going to get pretty confused. It happens an awful lot when you have a radical change in environments like that. And for your mom to digest everything, it would probably shake her up pretty badly, emotionally, cognitively. So how likely is it that the other siblings can get there? They say, well, once a month we'll go for a day or two, stay in town and visit moms, and we'll divide it up between the four of us, and we'll each have a week.
I'm sorry. Connecticut, Louisiana, and Missouri. I'm the closest at 5 hours.
Well,
I didn't know if Mom, does Mom have any rights? Can she say no? She's capable, and she's going to have a fit.
Well, have any rights about what there, Sue? Rights about what?
About saying whether she moves or not.
Well, she can. She can say, I don't want to move.
Or do we just tell her that she has to?
I'm not so sure that would be good for her.
I know. That's the bad part. I don't know what to do.
I would suggest this. Only you know your limitations. But maybe you could put it into your schedule that, once every 7, 8, 10 days, you leave in the morning, you drive in, you stay overnight, visit with Mom for that day, and then you drive home, if you can do that.
It's a 5-hour trip each way.
Yeah, that it is. It's logistics, but at this point, if your mom doesn't want to leave, she doesn't have to leave. And your sister obviously is thinking, I've got my own troubles, and I don't know what her reasons are for not wanting to help your mom.
The Call, a call from God. Father Vincent Serpa shares his experience.
It began when I was in second grade. I was preparing for my first Holy Communion, and I went with my mother and father to see The Bells of St. Mary's, the movie with Bing Crosby and Ingrid Bergman. He was the singing pastor, and she was the sister principal of the school. And at one point in the movie, the sister was being transferred out of the school, and it was very painful for her because she thought it was because of her disagreements with the pastor, and it was really because she was ill and didn't know it. There's a scene with her kneeling before the tabernacle in the convent chapel. And I had never seen anybody pray before a tabernacle before. I'd seen them pray before statues. But at this particular time in my life, I was learning about the real presence of the Blessed Sacrament in catechism class, and it made a lot of sense to me. The other thing that moved me was that she was doing the difficult thing because she loved the Lord, and that was very impressive to me. Shortly thereafter, at the catechism class, the sister that had been teaching the boys was transferred away. And I remember when they announced, my eyes filled with tears because I thought that she was doing the difficult thing because she loved the Lord. Again, that just galvanized that whole experience that I had had. And shortly after that, I was at my grandmother's house, and I noticed a picture of St. Martin de Porres, or a statue of him. He was Blessed Martin then, in a Maryknoll magazine. And under it said, Dominican Brother. So I came into the kitchen and I told my mother, I want to be one of those. Years later, I actually did. I became a Dominican lay brother, and then after further discernment, I decided that what the Lord was really calling me to was to be a priest, because I wanted to celebrate Mass, and that's the priest's principal function. It's what makes him a priest, is to celebrate that sacrifice. And that's what I did.
For information on the priesthood or religious life, log on to www.ewtn.com/religiouslife.
Thank you for joining me here. It's not E-Person Monday, it's You-Person Monday. We're doing some call taking. I'm talking to Sue from Iowa. Situation summarized: her 99-year-old mom is in a facility, a care facility, in another state, about 5 hours from Sue. The sister, which I'm going to say, if mom's 99, there's probably a pretty good chance the sister's in her 60s, maybe even 70s, and says, I can no longer take care of mom. I don't know the degree. Sue, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
What does she mean by I can't take care of her? Your mom's in a facility. Does she say I can't visit her?
Right. She
Whoa.
doesn't want to talk to her. She doesn't want to see her.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of...
There's a lot of
hostility there.
Yes.
Okay. Her attitude, correct me if I'm wrong, but her attitude is, you weren't the greatest mom, you weren't a very nice mom, and now when you're old and cantankerous and difficult, you want me to come around to take care of you? No, ain't doing it. Is that kind of her attitude?
She's ruined my sister's life.
Okay.
How? I do not know.
All right. Well,
But my mom
that's
is
good to
very
know.
difficult to get along with.
That's good to know, because that tells us your sister's not going to budge. And if, in fact, she's been diagnosed with a tumor, then she really is of the mindset that no way, no how can I do this. I'm dealing with my own heavy stress. Not going to happen.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
your question is, can
her
we
out of the town?
Can we uproot Mom and bring her closer to me?
Right.
I can't predict how your mom will react to a total change in environment like that. Most of the time, somebody who is elderly and in a care facility or even in their own home, especially if they've got some signs of dementia, it drops them off a cliff. They get confused. They can't digest it. They don't know where they're at in some respects. Pretty soon, it's just a jarring move for them. I can't know for sure. I can't obviously predict how your mom would react to that. Maybe, Sue, you can talk to her and say, Mom, would you like to come and be close to me so I can visit you regularly? If she says no, what's that? I'm sorry?
I said, I've already asked her that several times. We were just there, and she said no. She didn't want to move. All
right. You got your answer then, my dear. So the only thing I would suggest is that somehow, some way, if you can arrange to get there every so often to say hi to Mom, because at 99, it's safe to say you don't know how much longer your mom's going to be on this earth. So at 99...
She got a pacemaker at 96, thanks to her doctor.
Well, there's still a lot of other things that can go wrong. So given that, Sue, you got a decision to make here. You say,
okay,
can I get there every so often or not? And if not, maybe you can call a lot, talk to her on the phone if she can converse.
I call her every day.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. That's good stuff. And you're being heroically beautiful about that, especially if Mom has been very difficult throughout the years, and she puts people off, including her own children. Yes. And it also sounds like the other kids don't want to do anything to see her anyway. Is that safe to say?
Pretty much.
Okay.
They don't want to be involved. They don't want to have to deal with it at all.
Oh, man, that's
and
sad.
They've got the excuse of being far away. So.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. That's sad. No matter how difficult your mom was, Sue, she's your mom, and our Lord asks you to somehow, some way, be softer toward her. And however you can figure it out, and I think what you're doing is wonderful, calling her every day. I think that's beautiful. Many siblings will not even call their parents once a week if they're in a facility. They're forgotten. The only people who are more forgotten are people in prison. So given that, you can't change your mom's mind, and you can just call her, and then maybe every so often you can find a way to get there. God bless you, Sue, for what you're doing.
Okay.
Let's go to Rose from St. Louis Mo. Hi, Rose. Hey, Rose. Get back to that phone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pick it up.
I was eating lunch. I apologize.
You don't have to apologize for eating lunch, Rose. You didn't do anything wrong.
It's okay. All right. Well, I've been retired for about 5 years, and I decided to help out at our parish school. So I'm working with 2 second graders, 2 boys who are, one's taking medicine for ADHD, and the other one is diagnosed with autism of some sort. Anyway, I asked the one boy, I said, do you play on a pad or iPad or some device every day? And he says, oh yeah, I 10 hours. Well, if he leaves school at 3, he doesn't get on it. I mean, he would be on it for 7 hours because he said he goes to bed at 10. So I think it just means that he plays on it a lot. Mm-hmm. And I really strongly have a suspicion that it's very highly related to his activity on the technology of his jitteriness.
Well, there's research to indicate that.
That's what I thought. And so I'm wondering, is there anything that I could get a hold of that I could share with either the teacher or the parents or both or whatever. She is a second-year teacher, and she has her hands full because that class is about 25 kids. So
she can't control. This is one of the sadder things that I see, Rose. Parents allow massive technology to just infuse the kid's brain because they either don't want to pay attention to the kid, or they want the kid to be occupied, or they don't want to fight with the kid, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then certain vulnerable kids start having more trouble paying attention, sitting still, because they're so used to having video cocaine assault them. Now, probably the teacher would be the one to suggest any changes to the parent. My guess would be, and this is sad, the parents are probably pretty convinced that their kid is ADHD, and that's the problem, not the video games. So, given that, you search. You say, you plug into your phone or your computer something like effects on child's attention span and behavior of prolonged device use. And you're going to get just a ton of studies come flying up on you. They'll just be all over the place. Okay? So you will have that information. Take it to the teacher and say, here is some of the stuff I've come across. I don't know what you want to do with this, whether you want to talk to the parents about this at the next parent-teacher conference or not. And she might tell you, Rose, she might say, I've already talked to the parents about it, and they're not budging.
Yeah.
And that's sad. That's terribly sad. It is something I see relentlessly. And ultimately, the saddest part of it is when the kid is 14, 15, 16, and he's a major behavior problem, or he has all kinds of emotional struggles. The parent will look and say, how did that happen? Why is he like that? We were really good parents. Well, in some domains, you might have been really good parents, but in other domains, you allowed this kid's being to be shaped by endless time on something that is not natural for their development. So there you go, Rose. Do an internet search. You'll find all kinds of stuff. By the way, I have a book called Raising Upright Kids in an Upside Down World. And the book is focused on the effects of devices, computers, television, video games on kids. So if you want to get that book, it's on my website, Raising Upright Kids in an Upside Down World. It's a very popular seller among my books. All righty?
Appreciate that.
You're welcome, Rose. Thank you. This is Dr. Ray.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
Hello, Steve Ray here from Footprints of God Pilgrimages. The land of our Lord and Our Lady is calling us. We're heading back to the Holy Land over Christmas break this year. We have the best, most reliable guides and services awaiting us. The holy sites are open, and the local Christians are anxious to see us. Galilee, Jerusalem, Nazareth, Bethlehem. No crowds, no lines. Hope you can join us.
Find the Ave Maria Radio travel tab at AveMariaRadio.net.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
I went to Las Vegas years and years ago for one of these cable shows. And I was shocked to see all these old ladies in their 70s and 80s getting off that plane, running for a slot machine. You don't have a chance to win. They're all fixed. I know, my uncle used to have slot machines.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
In her diary, St. Faustina wrote, "If only I had a spiritual director from the beginning, I would not have wasted so many of God's graces." If even the saints needed spiritual guidance, how much more do we? The nonprofit Revive app lets you meet virtually with certified spiritual companions, scheduling sessions at your convenience, helping you grow closer to Christ. Your first 2 sessions are free. Download the Revive app today. That's REVIV, and then the number 3.
Got time for one more call, and a caller who disagrees with me, so this is good. Isabel from Washington is responding to a call last week, and she said, Dr. Ray, you missed it. All right. Isabel, tell me the call. Tell me how I missed it.
Okay, Dr. Guarendi, the great Dr. Guarendi, who always has perfect advice. It was the call last week when a woman called who was taking care of 3 grandchildren under the age of 3, and her great grandmother was taking care of the children 2 days a week. And anyhow, she couldn't do it. She had to work. She had to go to school, back to school, and had her own children. And then you were trying to, and she felt guilty about not wanting to take care of these 3 grandchildren. And the point that in your trying to struggle to try to help her to work out this, the one thing you didn't suggest was that mother needed to not work. She needed to stay home and take care of her own children, even if it meant some kind of loss in income, a middle-class lifestyle income or something. We know women work for different reasons. Some of them are needy. Some of them are to advance careers. Some of them are, who knows. But I had wanted to hear you say, is there any way that mother could stop working and be her own, take care of children?
Isabel, got a question for you. Why do you think I didn't make that recommendation?
I don't know, Dr. Ray. I think probably because it's not a popular answer for women to give up a job to stay home.
Yeah, but I wouldn't duck something just because it's not a popular answer. You know that.
Okay, then why did you duck it?
Because she didn't call. In other words, the mother of the kids did not call. Grandma was saying, we have to watch these kids. And if I say, well, go tell Mom to quit working, probably there's a 99% chance that Mom either has to work, wants to work, feels like I can't handle these 3 kids. So in other words, probably the best way to get Mom to quit working would be to make her responsible for her own children. Right. Rather than telling her, if I were to say, well, she needs to come home and take care of her kids. Well, that doesn't do anybody any good because she didn't call. And it was Grandma who said, I can't do this anymore. So if Grandma
who was going to suggest it to the mother?
Grandma would have to. Grandma would have to.
Yes, she would. She would. I felt like it was an answer that needed to be said, or the grandmother needed to raise that possibility.
Well, yes, but here's the problem. When somebody calls, for example, I had a situation once where somebody called, similar to you, Isabel, and they said, you mishandled that marriage call. It was a situation where the husband was scolding and unpleasant to the wife, and she was very miserable about this. I got an email where they said, you needed to tell that husband to not be that way, to protect his wife and to love his wife. And I thought, well, yeah, but he didn't call. And for me to say that would be a waste of time because she was telling me that's the way he was. And she was doing everything in her power to stop him, and it didn't work. So for me to say, well, you tell him he needs to stop being so scolding, as a psychologist, I can't do that because I can't say, yeah, go change that other person, because I had to focus on her turmoil. Same thing with Grandma. She was watching these kids she can't watch anymore, and if I said, well, you shouldn't have to watch them because Mom shouldn't be working, that may be true, but my gut tells me there's a strong likelihood that Mom will either put him in daycare or continue to work for whatever the reason, whether she has to or she wants to, whatever it might be. That's why I didn't say it. But I see what you're saying. I could have asked Grandma. I could have, but keep in mind now, it's only a 5-minute radio call. I could have asked Grandma, why is it that Mom is working and you're watching the kids? Could have done that. And probably I should have put that as a look-back call so I could do that in the future. Isabel, good point. Thank you for calling. This is Dr. Ray. I got to run. So tomorrow, good Lord permitting, we'll see you again. Thank Andrew Kruchek and Eric Dumont, my compadres there in Ann Arbor. And I thank EWTN, Global Catholic Radio Network. Walk with God. Please don't ever leave that walk. And if you do, run back to it as fast as you can.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.